Toto Wolff and Max Verstappen will not join forces in 2026 after all. But there is a reason that their dalliances took so long to be finally shut down, according to Ralf Schumacher. Subscribe Sport to F1 for Formula One news every day. The big rumor in F1 for months has been whether Mercedes will sign Max Verstappen next year. The lack of performance from Red Bull and the suggestion that Mercedes will embark on the F1 2026 regulations era with the best engine were behind the whispers. Mercedes boss Wolff and Red Bull star Verstappen failed to categorically deny it until last weekend's F1 Hungarian Grand Prix. Schumacher thinks he knows why it took so long. "It's quite good for both sides," the ex-F1 driver said to Sky Germany. "Toto Wolff can keep the pressure on the driver's side up and thus also save money. Max Verstappen can also keep the pressure up and maybe negotiate an add-on for any technical changes or whatever." George Russell involved in Max Verstappen Mercedes talk. Schumacher was referring to Wolff's negotiations with George Russell, who is out of contract at the end of this season. Russell's lack of clarity for 2026 was also behind the rumor mill linking Verstappen to Mercedes. But Russell headed off on holiday after the Hungarian Grand Prix, claiming a new Mercedes contract was a matter of when, not if. Reports from the Daily Mail suggest he could pocket £30 million per season from a new contract. But he has been made to wait, with the Verstappen saga taking center stage. Red Bull's sacking of their longtime team principal Christian Horner changed the dynamic. The Verstappen camp have denied having any involvement in ushering Horner out of the team, even though Father Jos called for his sacking a year ago. Jos was awkwardly put on the spot by Nico Rosberg recently during a TV interview about those comments. But for now, it seems that the Mercedes and Verstappen rumor has served its purpose for both parties, if Schumacher's theory is correct. Schumacher, remember, was also the F1 insider who suggested Wolff and Verstappen met on holiday in Sardinia to discuss a move. Their jets and yachts were tracked to the same location. Martin Brundle had to remind F1 fans that Wolff and Verstappen both live in Monaco, so could just cross the street if they wanted to privately speak to each other. Verstappen will be staying at Red Bull in 2026, the first year of the fresh regulations he has finally confirmed. "I also understand that he wants to wait at least another year. No one knows what 2027 will be then," Schumacher said. "But one thing is for sure, Red Bull is 100% behind him and will do everything for him." On the other side, Mercedes have been impressed by Lewis Hamilton's recent support and defense of Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli, who was selected by Mercedes to replace seven-time world champion Hamilton after his move to Ferrari, has endured a recent bad run of form during his rookie F1 season. After making a brilliant start to his F1 career, the 18-year-old Italian has found himself coming under pressure due to a downward slide in performances and lack of results since scoring a maiden podium in Canada. Hamilton came to Antonelli's defense following a difficult weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix and paid a visit to the youngster on Sunday morning ahead of the race at Spa-Francorchamps to offer advice and support. Speaking to select media, including Crash.net at the Hungarian Grand Prix, Mercedes communications chief and team representative Bradley Lord described Hamilton as a fantastic ally for young drivers like Antonelli. "I think that's entirely in character and in line with the Lewis that we've known for many, many years," Lord responded when asked by Crash.net what Mercedes have made of Hamilton's actions. Obviously, Kimi was in and around the team at the end of last season as well. Lewis offered his advice, his support, and encouragement in that time as well, notwithstanding the fact that it was at points a pretty difficult end to the season for him. "I think he's a fantastic ally for young drivers in the sport, and has a great understanding. Probably no one has a better understanding of what it means to come into the sport with very high expectations and into a top team in a rookie season, as well as he did in 2007. So no one understands it better, and I think his support is also hugely appreciated by Kimi and by the other young drivers that received it as well." Antonelli ended a barren run by returning to the points with a 10th-place finish in Budapest after Mercedes reverted to an older rear suspension configuration, a move which has given both drivers renewed confidence in the W16. Mercedes are continuing to support Antonelli as he navigates through a difficult first year of learning in F1. We know that a rookie season has ups and downs and it's full of learning, and that's going to be the positive learnings and the positive surprises, and also the more difficult moments, Lord said. As one would expect where the car has become more difficult, and both drivers are lacking confidence and the ability to commit to the corner with the car, that has been a struggle for him as well. It has cost him confidence, and the step backwards in performance that we've seen has meant that we are more vulnerable to those early exits in qualifying than was the case earlier in the season. So that's certainly a difficult moment for the team as a whole and for him in particular. I think the key thing is, we've already said this first and foremost, it's the car that isn't there, not any doubt or any lack of anything on Kimi's side, apart from experience that he hasn't yet got and hasn't yet had the opportunity to acquire. So our approach is very much one of encouraging him to take the learning from these experiences rather than focusing on the outcomes and then focusing on what is the process of regaining that confidence and regaining that performance. That comes from spending time with the team, spending time with the engineers, really understanding what we're doing with the car and how we can extract the maximum from it. For us, the priority is giving him a car with which he can express the talent that we know he's got and continue to realize the potential that we know is there as well. So there's full honesty on where we are and what we can improve, and then full support on that process of improving. And on the technical side, to give the drivers the tool that they need to deliver performance, and then for them in achieving that delivery. Lord added, I think every human being responds positively to knowing they have support of their team and the belief of their team, and that group has faith in them. That doesn't stop honest conversations about if things are not hitting objectives and things like that. I'm not saying that's the case with Kimi, I'm just talking in general terms. But yeah, every human being responds to that sort of positive feeling of support and being part of a team and being part of a collective endeavor, so that's been the case all the way through this first season. It was the case last season as well as we were building towards it. I think you've got to not get too lost in the moment and step back and see this all as part of a learning curve and a development trajectory, which is what this year is all about. On the other side, the Aston Martin's stunning performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix has been explained. After qualifying 5th and 6th on the grid, Fernando Alonso finished 5th with Lance Stroll 7th as Aston Martin enjoyed their most successful weekend of the 2025 F1 season in Hungary. The result, which came just a week after a miserable Belgian Grand Prix, lifts Aston Martin up to 6th in the Constructors' Championship heading into the F1 summer break. Aston Martin's drastic turnaround has been put down to key changes made to the team's 2025 car. So the running discussion in the paddock is they're running a new front wing with an old floor. Former Aston Martin strategist Bernie Collins told the Sky Sports F1 podcast. Some of it will be circuit-specific, but the turnaround has been phenomenal, given we have been at high downforce tracks this year and the car has performed nothing like it did this weekend. So something in their new front wing, and it's hard, I guess, for people to realize that just one component or one assembly can make such a big difference to car performance. But if the old front wing, something about how the air was flowing off that affects the remainder of the car. So if the old front wing wasn't allowing components in the floor to work, then a single component like the front wing may allow better airflow to the rest of the car. Suddenly the whole floor is working better, the diffuser's working better, the rear wing's working better. So just getting one assembly correct, particularly front wing or a front brake duct, anything like that that's affecting a lot of the airflow further back in the car, it can turn your performance around quite quickly. We need to go to more circuits to see that that holds across a range of downforce levels. But such positive signs for Aston Martin. Aston Martin were at a loss to explain their sudden competitiveness, and that was cause for concern for two-time world champion Alonso. It is a surprise, definitely it is a surprise. It's a nice surprise, the Spaniard said. The good thing is that we were competitive and we were fast. The concerning thing is that we don't know why. We need this week at the factory, before the mandatory summer shutdown, to analyze exactly what are the differences between Spa and Hungary. What are the differences on the car as well, on the setup, on the aero devices that we were racing with. Obviously, the main theme for us was the front wing that was new this weekend. If that front wing gives us that much performance, that's very good news, but I think that has to be understood at the moment.